Hello and welcome to Tea with Lily. And we have a special career and leadership series. Today, season 1 and episode 3. I'm your host, Lily Naja-Mensah. I'm a brand strategist by day, an events host by night, and quirkily curious about AI and how it affects everything that we do. Guys, as you know, Tea with Lily is a space for informal discussions where the great and the good join me on the magic sofa. Hi, Amelia. The great and the good on the magic sofa. And we chat about topical issues over a cup of tea. And guests from all walks of life do join me. And they come with tips and tricks about professional experiences and career growth. So if this is what you're about, join us. It's going to be a fun time because Amelia and I have had so many laughs, isn't true? We might giggle a lot. So pull up, be ready. And she's this, I call her the CV goddess because in my opinion, what she doesn't know about CVs is not worth knowing. So she's going to talk us about how the topic is CV makeover, and it's all about branding yourself for success. But before we bring Amelia and I introduce her properly, I just want to talk about what's happening today. We had the Euro 2024 going on, and oh my gosh, guys, on Sunday night, I normally don't have long nails, but on Sunday night, I was, I don't know. And just, after the second half, extra time in the final couple of minutes, England scored or equalized. And we thought, great, we're going, that is something. And then as they went on, they scored another one and we're back in the game. Do you know what? I am so excited. However, there's been some problems with the guy that scored the first goal, and he's a young man and he's done, Bellingham, he's done some stuff that wasn't so nice, but give the boy a break. And young man, next time you win, you score a goal, don't do silly things. You upset your mum, I'm sure. Don't do that. Okay. And going forward, we have another match with Switzerland. Gosh, and the Swiss team, they swept the floor with Italy. So it's not going to be a walk in the park, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that the England boys do well and go as far as they can. And I'm behind Gareth. Anyway, we've also got 2 more sleeps for the UK elections. 2 more sleeps, and in a couple of days we'll have somebody in number 10. It could be the current Prime Minister or a new one, who knows? And I know Amelia has voted already. So good on you. I haven't managed to do my postal vote thing yet, but I really should. I'm definitely going out there to vote. And so well done, Amelia. I'm so happy they've gone to vote, because you know what? If you have a vote and you don't exercise it, someone once told me, I use it all the time, it's like winking at a girl in the dark and hoping that she will. I love it. Yeah, if you have a vote and you don't use it, it's like winking at a girl in the dark, because she won't see it. There won't be that change. Whatever you're hoping for doesn't happen. So what do you think of that, Amelia?
Oh, I love it. That's hilarious. My face is hurting from smiling so much already. In Australia, it's compulsory to vote. If you don't vote, they chase you down, you get a fine, you don't pay the fine, it goes up and up and up. So I've been voting since I turned 18 and then moved to the UK. It just seemed like it's just what you do. You have your voice, you put it in. And, to make life easy, I get the postal votes. All I need to do is wander down to the pub where the post office is and drop it in. Easy. It couldn't be easier than that. So if everyone can vote, it'd be absolutely fantastic. Get your voice heard.
Indeed. So I didn't realize that in Australia you had to, but I think in the UK, we just take so much for granted, when there are many people once upon a time who did not have a vote. And so now majority of us, we all have votes, and we must exercise those votes. Okay, enough about politics, voting, football, or is it soccer in Australia or in America?
Yeah, definitely soccer. I grew up in a family that I feel like I'm the odd one out when I meet up with other Australians because we just didn't do sport. I know it sounds terrible. So people come up and make jokes about soccer, jokes about cricket, and it just goes right over my head. But your passion is just truly remarkable. I can hear the energy and excitement in your voice.
Oh gosh, I mean, I go to football matches. I paint my face. I'm a hooligan. Well, I'm not quite a hooligan, but I'm very passionate. I'm very passionate about soccer or football, whatever it is. So, guys, those who've joined us, welcome, and let us know in the chat where you're joining us from, because we want to know. We've got Amelia hails from Australia. She's lived in London. She's now in Scotland. And we have friends in the States, and we met in the restroom in Portugal. And so, yeah, it's been amazing. We'll talk about that in a minute. But let me tell you a little bit about Amelia. And I'm going to read my glasses are falling on the floor. That's going to be a challenge. Let's go. I'm going to read it. That's what happens when it's live. I felt it fall. Oh, there we go. Guys, it hasn't gone far. Let me read her bio. Amelia Brooke, a globally recognized CV writer and career strategist, stands out in her field. She doesn't just write CVs, she infuses them with life, transforming an ordinary document into a powerful tool. With over a decade of experience in coaching and writing, Amelia has guided hundreds of individuals worldwide to their target jobs. Amelia's approach goes beyond the norm. She doesn't settle for cookie cutter CVs. Instead, she taps into personal branding. Woohoo! Helping you identify your strengths. That's why she's here. I love anyone who's interested in personal branding. Who taps into personal branding to help you identify your strengths and achievements. That's exceptional, because sometimes we forget how much we've done, we've achieved, and we just sell what we've, the everyday stuff. So that's amazing. Just a little bit more about Amelia. She then weaves those compelling narratives that make you stand out, from management level positions to executive roles. Her insights can turn a mundane job application into an extraordinary opportunity. Join us as Amelia shares her transformative insights. She'll be guiding us into creating a CV that represents you and who you are and how you want to be perceived. There's a three-word letter that we use, and it's the light bulb. And she will talk to us about how she is referred to as a light bulb. But Amelia Brooke, the CV goddess, welcome. How are you?
I'm absolutely fantastic. I told my husband that you were calling me the CV goddess. You should have seen the look on his face. But I'm going to own it. Thanks very much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'll just have to send you my invoice later. Listen, let's talk about, initially how we met and stuff like that, just to see how. But before we do that, actually, let's see. We've got some comments coming in. Let's see. Glasses back on and off. Hey, Gary. Hi. Hi. Thanks for joining in. We've got Veronica. Hello, Lily. Hello, Amelia. Listening from Stockholm. And thank you for joining. And we've got Leia, greetings as well, watching from the UK. Okay. Well, thanks for joining, and I'm sure we'll have others. So my LinkedIn this time is working and is showing who is actually watching or has commented. And the last couple of times, live being live what it is, it didn't work. So,
right.
Yeah. So, yes, how we met in the loo.
Oh, we met. Isn't it funny when you realize you meet someone in the loos and you're not 18 in a club anymore? I You know, you have these moments where you just feel like you put your foot in your mouth. I think I had that when I first met you. We were in a conference, a careers conference in Portugal, and there was a little bit of a meet and greet the night before, but we didn't really manage to connect. And I remember looking down at the itinerary for the day and realizing you were up next to speak. And it was in the ladies' toilets, and I just wanted to go up to you and just wish you all the best. I hope it goes well. And you were fine. You're like, yeah, well, bit of an issue. And you told me that there was a problem with a presentation you'd be working on. You sent it across for some reason. It ended up getting lost in the work. And I said something along the lines of, oh, don't worry. No one's here to see your presentation. They're here to see you. And then instantly I regretted those words coming out of my mouth because I felt like I had put undue pressure on you. But I'll never forget, you just handled it so well, so calm. You just turned to me. You knew exactly what I meant to say. And you went in there and you just rocked it. So what a great start to the friendship.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And I think we've never looked back. We've giggled a lot. And I mean, you've just spent 10 years in business in June. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, how has the business changed over that time?
Oh, well, thank you very much. I haven't even had time to organize a fun celebration or get the obligatory photo shoot with the 1 and the 0 balloon, but you know, that'll come. So originally I started as ABCV Solutions back in 2014. I was in my final month of maternity leave. I had a 9-month-old baby and I had a business idea. But I promised it wasn't just a hormone-induced business idea. This was an idea I had for years. With my background was in technical recruitment. And I utilized my business. I did a bit Bachelor of International Business. I used those skills to kind of put together a Dragon's Den business case, looking at the competitors, the costing. I used my own money, used my own CV, and I sent it out to various CV writers just to kind of get a feel for their process and their pricing. And I sent it out for feedback. Some people said I was mad. I was working in a corporate job, great pension, great salary, great shares, all the perks that come with that. And it was a huge risk. And others really supportive. And I got a constructive feedback along the way. So originally I was side hustling. So I was working for an oil major, side hustling with a new young family. And I was gaining the experience, gaining the reputation. And very, very quickly, I realized I didn't have to advertise. The word of mouth was helping the business to grow.
Yeah.
So a few years later, baby number 2 comes and I make that realization that my values no longer align with the corporate life. I don't care about shareholder value. I don't care about how much profit you made this quarter. It's just not me anymore. So I took that leap of faith. We left London, we moved to Scotland, and we started a new life here that allowed for the business to grow and dedicate myself full time to it. So originally it used to be CVs, LinkedIn profiles, cover letters. And my niche, going from my technical engineering background, I'm not an engineer myself, but I used to work in automotive, worked in oil and gas, did technical recruiters. So I would write CVs for those people because I could picture what they did. Yeah, I knew what role they played in an organization. I could speak the language of their employers. And over time, I realized that I would turn clients away who didn't have an ideal goal in mind. I would say to them, there is no point investing any money with me to write your CV if you don't know what the goal is. But what I found is that people would go out and they would demand that CV get written by somebody else, and people would take their money, and all they were doing was rehashing that past experience, no future purpose. And so fast forward, then in 2019-ish, I got more and more interested in career coaching and realized very quickly that there are generally 3 stumbling blocks when it comes to career development. The first is what I saw a lot, is the behavioral, where people get so focused on the CV. They can spend hours and hours perfecting that CV or paying somebody to write the CV. but generally taking not a lot of action beyond that point or using it incorrectly. The second area that candidates stumble on generally is the emotional side. So that's where the fear, the anxiety, the imposter syndrome, and the lack of self-confidence comes into play. And finally, the third area is the cognitive side of things. Now, this is interesting. This is where the personal branding comes into play. This is a lack of awareness about themselves, an inability to see, as you said earlier, the value that they and contributions that they've made in an organization. They tend to not understand the job market or even the job search process. So with that, I put myself out there, did a lot of training, a lot of practice, a lot of certifications, and here we are. ABCV is now Amelia Brooke Career Vision, and I offer that holistic career development services all the way through, from career clarity right through to your first 30, 60, 90 days.
After you've been, or after you've got the job? Is it before you get the job or after you've got the job?
After I've got the job, I stay with my clients if they like, for up to 3 months afterwards.
Okay, because I think, but isn't now it's almost 6 months. You need six. Most organizations have a 6-month probation. So are you inclined to extend it to 6 months and make sure that they actually stay in that job?
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, I would say that every candidate or client that I've supported in the first few months is at that 3 months point. And then they tend to have the confidence themselves to not need that accountability partner. They've got their plan, they've got the stakeholders, they've attacked the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. But certainly those approaches can be adjusted from, every month to every quarterly, depending on what they need.
Okay. Oh, that's brilliant that you hold their hand long after they've got the job. So that's amazing. Now tell me about the light bulb. Why are you calling it? I'm curious. Curious.
The light bulb. I've been called other things. But the light bulb stemmed from, I did a certification called 360 Reach Branding Analysis. Have you come across it?
I have done it myself and have coached on it as well.
Oh, amazing. So for those that don't know, normally in a corporate environment or business environment, a 360 is generally getting feedback from your manager, subordinates, maybe a supplier, maybe a client, just to get that holistic circular viewpoint.
Even family.
Yeah, well, this is what's better. This is anyone. This is family. This is the postman. This is anyone who has crossed paths with you, who can give you their point of view about how you come across. It can be a bit scary to hit that send button because you never know what's going to come back.
Generally, I would put a caveat in there though, that we have to be mindful of who we give that review to, because it's somebody that will be objective.
Yes,
rather than use it as something to beat you, something that they will use to beat you up. I always say that they have to be somebody that will be objective, rather than just any old book. But carry on. Sorry.
Come on, everyone needs their ego stroked every now and then. But one of the things I like about this, it depends on your personality, of course, but some people find the what's it called? It's a projective exercise. And it can either be very awkward or quite fun to do. And it asks questions like the ones that I asked were, if I was a car, what kind of car would I be? And if I was I got something along the lines of reliable, quirky, and gets you where you need to be.
Okay.
The other one was, if you were a household appliance, what would you be? And this is where I think 6 different people came back and said she'd be a light bulb. Enlightening, lights up a room, allows people to see things differently, brings clarity, brings warmth, all these different reasons attached to the light bulb. And I like it because I enjoy those moments. Like if I'm on a Zoom call with a client and I can see that the story they've just told me, they've made that connection of success and how they can use that to get where they want to go next. For them, that's their light bulb moment, and you can actually
Yeah.
see them react and appreciate it.
Oh, that's okay. So you're the household item. The light bulb is the household item. Okay. Now, do you work with other coaches, other writers, other coaches?
In generally speaking, if someone places an order for a CV or sign my coaching agreement, they're working exclusively with me from the very beginning to the very end and the aftercare as well. But there will be times when I simply don't have the capacity because it is me. And there will be other times where clients come from a very niche, very specialized area, maybe within further higher education, of tertiary education, or maybe medical and surgeons, and that's well and truly out of my wheelhouse. So
Mm,
I'm a member of UK and international writing and coaching organizations. So I
mhm.
tend to reach out to those people and say, this is my candidate client, this is what they're after, this is the timeline they need it, is anyone available? And because of the certification process associated with those organizations, I've got the confidence that I can hand them over to the right person that can help them.
Okay, that's good because it's good to know they have other people to support you, and vice versa. Because I'm sure there are times that some people have more work than they can sort of deliver, and they will come to you and ask you to help as well. So it works both ways, collaboration,
Oh,
isn't it?
yeah, I think the vice versa is really important as well. So I have a number of leadership coaches that I work with who either work with individuals on a one-on-one basis, or they go into organizations and do it at an organization level where they're allocated specific people to mentor, usually fast-track leadership programs. And it's through those conversations where the leadership coach will realize it's not actually traditional leadership coaching as such. You need a bit more work on that personal branding side of things. So
Mm.
that the client can potentially go back and forth between the two of us and then go back into that program with the leadership coach and continue on once they've worked with me.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to think how that would. I mean, I'm trying to think of it in my own head. So, how do you see sort of CV writing, career coaching, personal branding, and how all of that sort of interconnects?
I see a deep, deep connection between them all. At the end of the day, though, understanding your goals and how you want to be perceived, that's the guiding light through all of those areas.
Light, light, light.
Light.
Let there be light.
Didn't even realize I said it. It really is. You have to know the goal. You have to know how you want to perceive. And then from then on, it comes down to strategic positioning. It comes down to confidence and authenticity. And that is how it all hangs. So, for example, I might have a client who comes to me looking for a career transition. Maybe they're from a technical background, but they're looking for their first leadership role. The coaching
Mhm.
will identify that need, that desire, and the reasons behind it will vary from person to person. And then that's where the personal branding can come into play, because what that does, that creates a narrative around the way that person wants to be perceived. We will start talking about their leadership abilities. We'll look at the executive presence, and we'll look at their vision for what it actually takes to manage a team. And then the career writing generally comes in at the CV writing, sorry, comes in at the tail end of that. And that's where we really work to extract and craft the stories that
Mm,
reflect those leadership abilities, that are aligned to the future employer's needs.
mm.
And it really does tie together the whole way through. It can be done in isolation, but it will really depend on where that client is in their career journey and understanding who they are and what they want to be doing.
Yeah, yeah. So sort of bridging the gap between where they are now and where they want to get to, and the bits in the middle that you need to do with them. And I know you mentioned storytelling. We're hearing about that a lot now, but many of us have done that without realizing that we're actually telling a story about where we came from, our backstory to where we're going, and how important do you see storytelling as important in CV writing, interviewing, and so on and so forth? How important do you think that is?
Yeah, again, it all ties in together. So if at the point that we're writing the CV and we're having a deep dive conversation, we're extracting
Mm,
those stories that are relevant to the next employer, well, guess what? The interview preparation is half done because you've already come up with the stories that matter in the mind's
mm,
eye of the future employer. Then it just comes down to practicing. Where sometimes I'll work with clients who I haven't done their CV, I haven't done any previous coaching, and we start from scratch. We talk about what's important to the employer, and then we work backwards, coming up with the stories that are relevant to those. The
mm,
storytelling element is effectively a chance to put in context. It's about talking about the before and the after. It's about talking about what environment, what world did you walk into when you started? How
mm.
was the onboarding? Were there structures in place? Were there processes in place? How did you survive? Did you have the boss from hell? How did you overcome that? It's about
I'm
overcoming.
sure
And
everybody has had one of those, the boss from hell. But there was really good bosses, but we all remember the boss from hell or bosses from hell. But carry on.
yeah, absolutely. But ultimately, you had to find a way to work together. You couldn't have just
Yeah.
started and gone, oh, I'm out of here a week later. You would have had to have found a way to navigate around that situation to get the job done. I want to know how you navigated. It's the how. How did you do the work? How did you get that done? And what were the results? And that really is where the storytelling comes into play. And it ties in with some of my tips I want to share with you today because people do it without realizing.
Mm. That, storytelling is important. So in terms of the tips, let's go into the tips then. What are I always talk about the 3 tips. So give us tip number 1 and let me write it down.
I like sell yourself, not the job description. And I want to give you an example. Okay, so an easy way to think about it. So I want to share an experience with you. But before I do, I would like you to think about when was the last time you made a significant purchase that you had to research before you bought it?
Oh gosh, maybe my phone. My
Yeah,
phone.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that,
my phone.
that, that's cool.
I've got a snazzy flip phone, and I think when it came on the market, I was very excited about it. But it was that expensive that I thought, let me make sure I'm not throwing my money away. So yeah, I'd say
Yeah,
that. That's how. Yeah,
exactly. What am I going to get for my money? This better be worth it.
yeah.
So for me, and for the viewers that are watching, before we started, Lily asked me to adjust my height, and I said, "Oh, watch this," and I moved my fancy desk. So that leads into a really good analogy. So for me, my big purchase, out of the ordinary, expensive purchase, I needed a new desk. So I
Mm,
work at my desk 6, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, whatever it takes. So I'm very much desk bound. And before I was working in this beautiful solid wood banker's desk, the kind where you sit in between, it's got the shelves on the either side of you. It doesn't give a lot of wriggle room. But my
yeah.
wrists were hurting, my shoulders hurting, my back was hurting. I just could not keep up. So I decided that it was time for a new desk. So what
Mhm.
do? I hit Google and I start researching. And there are millions and millions and millions of different desks out there from all around the world: stand-up desks, sit-down desks, corner desks, movable desks, wooden desks, ergonomic desks, you name it. So it's quite overwhelming to make a decision. So I could have just jumped on IKEA very, very quickly, and I could have bought myself a brand new desk that would have done the job. But and I didn't. As I kept searching, I realized that it was those websites that told me more than just the materials, more than just the dimensions. They told me how that desk can change my life. They told me all about the features. They told me how it works. They talked about reducing back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain. They talked to me about benefits I didn't even realize, like sitting too long can lead to heart issues, can lead to obesity, can lead to all these
Yeah.
other issues.
Mm,
So
mm.
what do you know? I went, well, I've got a fancy new desk now, and I'm super happy with it because the description out there, the messaging was tailored to my needs
Mm.
perfectly. So if we link that back to what's happening when candidates are putting together CVs and they're looking at job descriptions. So if you're putting yourself in the same situation, if you're a hiring manager, Lily, what kind of role would you potentially be looking for?
In terms of the hiring, if I was hiring at the moment, I need an intern.
Yeah, intern, assistant, something like that.
Yeah.
So let's say, and that's a perfect choice, because my tip number one, so yourself, not the job description, that applies to an intern all the way up to the people running the world's biggest companies. So if you're hiring an intern or assistant, you're going to put together a job description and an advert and put it out there for people to apply. So first of all, good luck if you're going to do that, because you're going to get absolutely inundated. But that's a story for another day.
Actually, I have. Okay, let's make it specific to this interview that we're doing. I need a producer, and I've written a job description for someone to help me produce this show, because I'm the producer, I'm the makeup, wardrobe, hair person, I'm directing, I'm doing everything. So the producer, I've written a job description for the producer, actually. So enough, I know I'm putting it out there.
Right. So makeup, wardrobe. What was the other thing you wanted? What's your third thing on the list?
The person to write the script, and speak to the guests. So script, or help with the script.
Guest speaker. Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to write those down so I remember them. So after seeing your advert for a producer, wanting makeup, wardrobe, scripts, and speaking experience, most people are going to start to write their CVs. Now, they're probably going to go back to their job description to get pointers about what it is they do. Or they might tap up AI and ask it to create a CV for them that suits what you need. And what you're going to likely see is two things. You're going to see a whole lot of CVs that contain the keywords makeup, wardrobe, script writing, right?
Yeah.
You're also going to see a whole lot of CVs that you're going to wonder why on earth those people thought they could work for you, because they're a plumber or a taxi driver. Okay. There's just no connection. So the ones that do have those skills, which I'm just going to move, those ones are going to have it on there. They're all going to look the same. They're all going to say script writing. They're all going to say speaking abilities. They're all going to say makeup and wardrobe. So instead of just mimicking what the job description says with the keywords, a better strategy is for the candidate to picture themselves in your organization, in that role, and what it's like to work with you. And then they're going to think about whether or not those responsibilities you've listed and the work environment suits their skills, suits their experience, and suits their personality, and suits their career trajectory. That is strategic job searching. And then before they start to write the CV, can they demonstrate those skills that you're after? Can they demonstrate them in action? Have they worked and thrived in an environment working for an entrepreneur and coach like you? And do they actually enjoy doing that work? So if they were to visit your website, take a look at your LinkedIn, look at all your socials, they're going to be able to quickly see as well whether your values, Lily, align with theirs. Because when you're working with a solopreneur, there's nowhere to hide when things go wrong. And
I know that.
Exactly. And obviously they're going to notice that you're all about personal branding. So again, they need to think about what they can do to support you and support your clients. Because at the end of the day, you need someone that you can rely on. You need more than what you just told me. In terms of those skills. So when it comes to CV writing, I would like for people to think beyond just the laundry list of skills on the job description. Think about how they can add value in your organization, because that is the only way that stack of CVs you're going to get is going to be, one's going to distinguish from the other.
So it is about how can you add value, or going over and above what like you said, the laundry list of skills and experience is required. Thank you very much. I shall, I hope I find my producer for this show. Now, what is it? Skill tip number 2 for us.
Well, I'm just writing down your makeup, just writing down your skills, the wish list again.
I don't think I need someone to do my makeup for me. I have done that, and I've been traumatized by it when I've had someone do my makeup. I just find it's too much, and I don't recognize myself sometimes.
Yeah, it's when you get the flicks things you wouldn't do. I'm just looking to my right because I'm typing into ChatGPT. Write me a CV summary for a producer. For write me a CV summary for a producer. Yeah. Summary statement for a producer. So tip number 2 is all about the headline. So again, when it comes to writing the CV, the top half of the CV, or the first even quarter of the CV, that is prime real estate. Our eyes are naturally drawn to the top and then they read down. So what I see over and over again is huge chunks of dense text that nobody reads. You just sit right over them. So let me show you. I'm just going to write me a CV summary statement for a producer, for a coach. Shouldn't even really write coach. I'll just see what comes up. I'm just hitting enter. Let it do its thing. Guess what the first 2 words are?
What?
Results driven.
Results driven. Yes, producers are right.
No,
but results driven is one of those words that is so lol. I mean,
I'm not going to read it. Right? I'm not. It's a huge no-go. So I'm not going to read it all out. I'll bring it in front so I don't have to look sideways. But let me just show you what happens when people use ChatGPT to write their CV. So I'll just bring it across. I'm going to write here, results-driven producer with over 7 years experience in specializing in content creation, event production, project management. Now, you didn't say any of those skills, mind. Skilled in collaborating to design executive impactful programs, workshop, and multimedia content. And it goes on and on and on. And in a total, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines. 9. So if that was to be copied and pasted into a CV.
9 lines with no breaks.
No breaks.
Okay.
Got passionate, this, that, the other. Yeah, it just goes on and on and on. It sounds good, but the problem is with this, I could copy and paste it to any producer CV I was writing, and they would all look the same and they would all get away with it because it's such generic content. So the difference is the ability to capture the attention really, really quickly. And this is where you can use the headline, branding statement, and accomplishments combo, as I like to call it, to position yourself the way that you want to be perceived and demonstrate the value you bring in an organization. Again, linking back to what we said about value. So potentially we could have a headline along the lines of strategic producer, empowering coaches, helping to elevate brands and building trust. Because effectively,
so that would be your headline.
That would be your headline.
Not your summary.
Not your summary, just a headline. It's got the job title in there. It's mentioning that you're strategic. It says that you're empowering coaches. You're a coach. Elevating brand. Well, you're in the world of personal branding and building trust. Again, it's you want someone you can rely on. So it's very cleverly tapping into your world. It's demonstrating that this person can thrive in your world. And then you could think about a branding statement, something along the lines of entrepreneurial minded. Well, we have producer, creating delightful client experiences. And again, delightful, that's a phrase, I'm sure I've seen that on your website, that it resonates with the way that you put yourself out there, Lily. So it's tapping into the fact and aligning you as an entrepreneur, as an entrepreneurial minded producer. That's what you want. You want someone who gets you. It's hard when you list your own, So,
But
and again, you could follow it up with 3 headlines. Yeah. So, or 3 accomplishments. So you could say you developed online branding for a solopreneur startup, or a major organization. You brought predictability to the workload. You streamlined processes, booking and scheduling, and it can show the value that that person has brought, that you go, hang on, I wanted a producer, but I want that person to do that for me.
because they do so much more. They've sold themselves much better than the sort of the dull list of, it's a snooze fest. That's it.
Oh, and you think about admin roles and these kind of roles, they can be very boring. They can be very repetitive. But an admin role and a producer who ultimately are there to help your business grow, Lily, to help you expand, to help you reach a wider audience. That's what you're hiring them to do. Yes, they're doing all those things behind the background, the scheduling and the booking and the makeup and the wardrobe and all of that. But why? What is the purpose of them being in your organization? Ultimately, it's to help you grow and expand. And that's the kind of language that needs to be incorporated into a CV. We use experience, we use skills, we use strengths, and we write in a language that resonates with the reader.
Yeah. Okay. So, for instance, if you were writing okay, let's put it like an accounting firm, or you're looking for a job in that area, they don't use flowery language like delightful. How would you coach somebody like that to sell themselves, to sell their personal brands within the ecosystem of how would I call it, those straight-laced people? How would you sell yourself in that area? Because you do need to stand out from the bean counters.
I always say, if you were to meet somebody out and about, how would you describe yourself? What 3 words would you use to describe yourself? And I can guarantee you wouldn't say highly organized, results orientated, or whatever it might be. You're going to give me more realistic, more authentic words. And it's okay to own those. And if they can correlate to the organization and what you see on their website, what you see on YouTube, then you're going to be potentially a refreshing change in their organization. If they don't like what they hear, they don't like what they see, well, guess what? You just dodged a bullet, because you were never going to fit in there.
I like that. I like that, because you can be highly skilled, you can go in there and be so miserable. You don't make the 3 months, let alone 6 months. So it has to be a fit, I guess.
Absolutely. My accountant, I would call her, she is bubbly. She is sweet. Yeah, but she's also very reliable. But it's the phone rings and you don't begrudge answering it, because you know you're going to have a lovely chat for 10-15 minutes before she gets down to business. And I love that relationship.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. Sell yourself and use a headline. So that's tip number 2. What's tip number 3, Miss Amelia?
Tip number 3, it ties in with tip number 1. We need to shift this can do to did do. I don't care what you can do. I want to know what you did, why, and I also like so what. So, for example, going back to that job description that you wrote, the job description is a list of things you should be doing or can do within an organization from the employer's perspective. So while it's good to keep those on record just to refresh yourself about the organization and what the expectations were of the role, what I do with clients, I draw out what they actually did and how they actually did it. So instead of writing things like responsible for or duties included, which I see a lot.
Do people still do that?
People still do. People still put subheadings called
duties included. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the beauty of CV writing, is it's constantly evolving, it's constantly tweaking, it's constantly getting more precise, and the way that the information is conveyed is a much more succinct and impactful now. We get away with the responsible for, the duties included, because the problem is, if your producer goes out there and copies and pastes their responsibilities, guess what? The next producer, chances are they had the same responsibilities as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
We want
Again,
more.
we want to know more. So instead of saying responsible for managing the wardrobe, answering calls, posting on social media, looking after Lily's makeup, we want to have phrasing such as, enhanced business growth for an executive or personal branding coach. How maybe they streamline particular process, maybe they introduce new technologies, maybe they improved client communication, and maybe as a result your client cancellations dropped by 65%. Maybe
Yeah.
they were able to connect more authentically with clients, that you would have guest speakers and you would put arrangements in place, and they were able to provide context and upsell you before the event took place. Maybe they had more of a client facing role as opposed to just purely a background producer. And if so, how quickly were they able to close out inquiries? Maybe they had a 98% closeout rate of inquiries within 24 hours. There's lots of ways that we can demonstrate the impact of an organization, regardless of what your role is.
Thank you. Oh, hello, Rosie. Thank you. Rosie says I'm looking great.
Oh, yeah.
I have to pick myself up too. Rosie, hello, and thank you for joining us. Let's go to the next detail. So how can we find out about you? How can we reach out to you to, in case we want to know more, and if we want to, if some people want to work with you, how can we find you? Where can we reach you?
I am always up for a conversation. They're always absolutely without any obligation, and they're always free. So I like to offer consultations for career coaching and potentially CV writing. But fundamentally, what I do is I'm tapping into those three main areas where I think you might be stuck, and then I can put together an approach that suits you. So I have a website, which is amelia-brooke.com. And I'm also relatively active on LinkedIn. I try to be.
Relatively. She's very active on LinkedIn.
That's the normal LinkedIn header, linkedin.com/in/Amelia-Brooke as well. But I can post at the end of the session as well.
Yes, I'll post that. Oh, yeah, you can post that either way. And you can post that either way. And I think I'll put that on Facebook as well. Today I can't see any of my Facebook people, but never mind. It happens. Some days I can see one tribe, the other days I can see the other tribe. So I'll go there and post that as well.
We're live.
So yeah, we're live. Everything happened. I found my glasses. That's a good thing. Even though I haven't needed them. I needed them to read your bio properly. So Amelia, I know you always come back and give us stuff. So what giveaway do you have for us?
As I said, looking forward to reaching out and connecting with anybody who's interested in having a confidential chat about what's happening in their career, where they're heading, if they need help, whether it be internally within a promotion, maybe looking sideways, maybe looking up and outside an organization. If they're looking at their CV and saying, it's just not me. Then by all means, please reach out for a conversation. I mean, it really is. It's the reason I do what I do. I love that moment. And I used to be terrified when I started out. I used to be terrified of hitting the send button when I'd spent hours and hours and hours researching and preparing a client's CV. I was nervous about what they would come back and say. And now I just absolutely energized by it. I look forward to hitting that send button and seeing what feedback comes back my way. Even yesterday, I had a fantastic one. The woman wrote, "Blimey, who is this woman and how can I hire her?" And it's just that realization that it's you. It is you. You've done all those things. I could never make that up. It's your stories.
Oh, that sounds great. In your view, how often, regardless of whether, and this is a thought that has come to me, regardless of whether you're looking for a job or not, how often should you update your CV?
I'd say update your CV between every 12 and 18 months, but along the way,
Okay.
I'd like you to be keeping a diary, nothing fancy, just of those key stakeholders that you work with and the key milestones and achievements that you've earned in that time frame. Because as the days and the weeks and the months and the years go by, it's really easy to forget what we did. It's really easy just to brush away an obstacle or challenge that you overcome and just look back at it with rose tinted glasses. But if you're writing that down, if you're keeping a little diary, it makes the life of the CV writer and a coach a lot easier.
Okay, so I've written it. I'm going to put it up there. Keep a diary and key milestones and achievements, and update CV every 12 to 18 months. So everybody, you've heard it here. Miss Amelia said you should do those things, and that will help you. So now, thank you so much, Amelia. I love the way you approach your job. The passion is absolutely there. You want to help people shine. You want to help people do well in the CV thing. So there's no argument about that. What other thing? What I do know that I haven't seen in others before is the passion and the authenticity that you bring to your work. You say it like it is. You stand tall. You say that like it is, and you're there for them until they win. You don't just. I mean, of course, I'm sure they're clients, just like bosses, bad bosses that you've gone. Do you know what? Just go away. I can't work with you anymore because I can't please you. But I'm sure majority of your work is all about helping people shine, and we all need an Amelia Brooke in our corner. So thank you for sharing your expertise. Gary has given you the thumbs up as well. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
So guys, reach out to Amelia. We'll put a link on this broadcast in LinkedIn and Facebook. Reach out to her. And if you need anything else, Amelia is there. She's a great woman. She's awesome. She's a great mum as well, and she's on holiday. So she's on holiday now. So are you giving up during the school holidays? Do you still do the work, or have you slowed down a little bit?
I slow down a little bit, and my brother is actually coming across from Australia, so I'm hoping to wind down completely so I can dedicate that 2 weeks with him.
Oh, that I'm sure he'll have a fabulous time. You're so wholesome, and I love your vibe. So thank you very much for coming to share your tips and tricks, and everybody else has joined us. Thank you very much, and I hope that Amelia's tips will help you nail the right job, or if not, reach out to her, and may everything, look after yourselves, and may everything that you wish for be the least that you receive. Bye for now. And if you're an England fan, please do not cry if we lose. It's all about the game, the football game, and don't forget to go and vote, okay, if you're in the UK. Bye for now. See you soon.
Bye-bye.